think we're good. This is new technology for me, so I'm still figuring this part out. Okay, so I think we are live. If we're not live, we're recording, and then I'll share the recording later.
Sounds good.
So, hello everyone. Welcome. I am here with Kylie, and she took my Healing the Female Pain Body course last fall. And I wanted to bring her on, which she graciously offered to do. So thank you so much, Kylie, to talk about her experience with the course. There were 29 women in the first course, and 100% of them said that they would highly recommend that other women take the course. So I wanted you to hear from one of them. If you're considering the course, I know that it's always really helpful to hear from someone who has taken it before. So I'm very happy that Kylie offered to do this. So we're going to talk about when the course ended, what I asked all the women to do was to go into the Facebook group and post about their takeaways. Like, what transformations did they have during the course? What things have they seen shift in their life from the course? And Kylie wrote a bunch of really amazing transformations that happened for her during taking the course. So I'm going to read a few of them and then let Kylie elaborate on them a little bit. So is there anything you'd like to say? Do you want to introduce yourself or say anything first, Kylie?
No, my name is Kylie. I took the course in last October. It was amazing. So good. You can ask I can't remember what I said. I know it was good.
Yeah, she did a testimonial too. Okay, so let's talk about some of the results that you got from the course. So one of them was a dramatic change in your relationship with your husband. And some things that you wrote here on your takeaway form was a deeper love for my husband. And I get teary-eyed, honestly. Like, I was reading over it before and I almost cried. A deeper love for my husband and an understanding of him that I didn't have before. And then you also put a total perspective transformation towards the men in my life, in particular my father and my husband. The stories I've been telling about myself, about them as people, and all their choices are starting to fall away. So would you mind saying just a little bit about what changed in your relationship with your husband? What were the shifts that you saw?
Yeah, I mean, once we really started to look at our beliefs in the course, I didn't realize how much I was really carrying all these stories that actually had nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
Once I started to question, I think it was like week 2 or 3, because my energy changed so much, he started treating me differently. Like, he came home and he was like, I want to cook you dinner. I want to cook for you. He brought me flowers. Like, he just, I could see him light up and like soften as a result of me softening.
Yeah.
And I remember we had a conversation, something that we usually fight about and we usually cannot even talk about. And I remember I just kept breathing into womb space and not saying anything, just like staying in womb space, and which is something that we learned in the course.
Yeah.
And staying soft. And he talked more in that 10-15 minute conversation than he has in our entire marriage, just because of what I learned from the course. Just staying soft and just like loving him just the way he is.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah. And that's something we really go into deep in the course, is how to stay soft, how to stay connected to your womb space, and also how to question the painful beliefs that you have about the men in your lives, and transmute the anger and rage that you have towards men in general. Because when you have a lot of rage and anger at men in general, you're going to project that onto your partner. Like, that's just something that we do, right? Yeah. And so when you start to change all of that within yourself, your partner is going to start to treat you differently.
Yeah, and I just remember having this moment of like, just this soften, like a physical softening and an energetic softening in my chest, just thinking about him, like, I can't believe I've been having the thoughts that I've been having about him because they've had nothing to do with him, and he's been suffering because of my pain body. And it
Yes.
was like this moment of like, ow, that hurts that that happened, but like the relief that it's like, okay, I see it now, I can heal it, and I can change our relationship completely just by working on myself.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's beautiful. And I'm so happy you had that transformation in your marriage. I mean, that's huge alone. Just to have that transformation with your partner is huge. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. And then you also wrote about a lot of transformation that you had towards how you felt about your father. So let me just read a little bit about that.
Mm.
You said, I've found a forgiveness towards my father. Oh, I'm going to cry again. A love for my father, which I hadn't ever allowed myself to feel since I didn't meet him until I was 17. So you let yourself feel a love for your father for the first time, and you found a forgiveness for him. So say a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the main things that we look at in your course, like we work with the father, but we work with the mother. And I think that's actually what I had to work with on the most, is like seeing him through the lens of my mother's eyes.
Yes, yes.
Because since I hadn't met him until such an older age, all of my thoughts growing up were through my mother's eyes, of like him not showing up and him abandoning me and not wanting to be in my life. And once I started to strip those stories away and see him for who he is, and see him as a man and not have that be a dirty word,
Right.
then I could really see who he was as a person and like really allow myself to feel. I remember we were talking, I think it was at the end of the session, and we were chatting about like if anybody had any questions. And I think you said like, I'm feeling like you even like him and maybe even like love him. And it just like, I didn't even think that I could ever feel that way about him. Like, I didn't even know that I was allowed to, because the pain body around that relationship was so heavy and so dense and intense that I just, like, the opening that I experienced was just beyond profound.
Yeah.
And I like him and I love him. It's awesome.
Yeah. Falling in love with
Yeah.
his father for the first time.
Yeah, which I never dreamed would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at most, I thought maybe I would just be okay with having a conversation without hating his guts, but I actually enjoy him now as a person.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And so what Kylie was saying, one of the things we look at in the course is what I work with is called the mother merge, and that we energetically merge with our mothers. And one of the things we merge with is we will start to see our fathers through our mother's eyes. So if your mother was angry and resentful and blameful and pissed off at your father and had treated him like a child, and whatever her negative feelings were towards her husband, your father, you'll merge with that and you'll start to see your father through those eyes too. So I take the participants through a process of unmerging from that and starting to look at your father through innocent eyes. And you're never going to see a perfect person, but you're actually going to see the real person in front of you, not the person that your mother sees. So and when you heal that relationship with your father, because he's your formative male figure, it will heal your relationship with men. Because then we project how we feel about our father onto our husbands, right?
Yeah, and that's what was happening. Like, my husband, we live together. He works very hard to support us. He's an amazing father, but I wasn't even able to see that because I had so much anger projected onto my dad through my mother's programming, or merge, or whatever you want to call it.
Right. Then you project that onto your husband.
Yeah, and it was preventing me from seeing all the things that he was actually doing every day and how amazing he actually was with both our children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're seeing him through innocent eyes. You're not seeing him through the eyes of the pain body. You're not seeing him through the eyes of the merge. You can see he's not a perfect man, but what you see, though, is a really good man, a loving man.
That's a good man, yeah.
Yeah, great. That's beautiful. Okay. Let's see. Another place where you had a lot of changes in your parenting. So Kylie has 2 sons. Something you said here is, I see a change in my parenting. I have 2 boys. Unfortunately, I'm noticing mistakes I've been doing that have been emasculating them. I'm so grateful to know that I can change these behaviors before my sons get into their teen years. So can you say a little bit about what changed with your sons?
Yeah, I mean, the most profound difference was my eldest son. He's 10. Um, just in parenting and mothering him, I was emasculating him without even realizing that I was doing it. Like, I was demanding that he do things and kind of, I don't know, parenting from the pain body, I guess.
Yeah.
And now I can go into womb space and ask him to do something from a space of desire, and he will drop everything and just want to serve me. And it is the sweetest thing I have ever seen. Like, he wants to tidy up the house. My husband went away to Mexico for a vacation, and I would wake up in the morning. He taught himself how to make me coffee, and he would put the
Mhm.
coffee on the table and like cut up some fruit and arrange it for me. And like, it just so sweet, so sweet. And it removed this kind of block that we had from connecting,
Yeah.
because as he grew and got a little bit more independent, it created a male female dynamic instead of just a baby mom dynamic, and
Right.
that friction was really felt.
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful. I love that so much. And I love how much that's going to transform your relationship for ongoing. You'll have a
Mhm.
completely different relationship with him as a teen and as an adult that you wouldn't have had if you were still relating to him through the pain body.
Yeah,
Yeah. And what you said just with your son, like that actually works with all masculine men, like
it
all
does.
if you are demanding things from your pain body, you are going to get resistance. You
Yeah,
are, yeah, right. You're going to get men that are then angry or resentful at you. But if you're in your pleasure body, if you're in your womb space, which is something we do in the course, like how to connect with your womb, and even if you've had your physical uterus removed, you still have the imprint of the womb. But how to connect to that and how to move from that and how to relate to men from that place, because most women don't get this, but 99% of the way we relate to men is from our pain body. So
yeah,
when you learn to relate from your pleasure, from your desire, from your womb, men will literally fall over themselves to try and make you happy.
yeah,
Like it becomes their main objective. Like, how do I serve you? How do I make you happy?
yeah.
Totally. Okay, great. And then the last piece of changes are changes just within yourself. So I'm going to read a few things you wrote. I know you wrote this a while ago, so you probably don't even
Yeah. It's new to me now.
remember. Yeah. So here's some things you wrote about changes within yourself. I have a deeper connection to my sensuality because I feel safer in my body. I'm feeling my whole pelvic area more. I'm feeling more connected to my womb space. I'm realizing that I am not the pain body, that I am a divine being, that I am an essence. I feel much more whole. You said, I feel so much more empowered in control of myself. I used to feel like I was losing my center a lot and a slave to my pain body. Now I can feel my center and the real me. You want to add anything about that, like the transformations you're feeling in your inner world?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you're a loving person at your core, it's really hard to watch yourself act out the pain body in your everyday life to people that you really love, like my own son, my husband. Like, I love them at the end of the day, no matter how angry I am or resentful. Like, I love them with my whole heart. And to watch myself treat them badly and criticize them and not act in a way that was good for anybody, it was really, really hard. And I was thinking that that was me and that I was a bad person.
Right.
But you take us through a couple exercises that show us that it's not us. Often, like, it's not even coming from us. It's a merge.
Yes.
And even if it's a learned behavior, it's not who we are at the core. Like, there was one exercise that you took us through that had us feeling into ourselves, like the real essence of us. And it just felt like this pure love that I had never been able to connect with just in myself ever before, because the pain body was in the way. And
Yes.
that is probably one of the greatest gifts. I mean, it was all amazing, but that was one of the best gifts, is just being able to feel safe in knowing that I'm not a jerk.
Yeah.
It's not me. I'm actually a really great person, and like getting to know myself, the real me, because
Yeah.
I'm shedding all the things that aren't me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so true. When you unravel the pain body, what happens is your essence opens up, your divine
Yeah.
essence, like who you really are and how you are really here to express yourself in the world,
Hmm.
can open up. When you have so much pain body, you can't even feel the divinity of yourself, like the essence of yourself. So unraveling that pain body really brings you into that place of coming home into who you really are. And that's
Yeah.
really beautiful. Yeah. And what about you said I don't get sucked down into a tornado anymore. I feel like I'm more in my
Oh,
center. Like say a bit
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, I had like an intense pain body loop anytime there was a deep trauma, that anytime it got triggered, it was around abandonment. So anytime my husband said that he was going to be home by a certain time and he wasn't on time, like I would be watching the clock to the
Mhm.
minute, just
Mhm.
like trying so hard to control. And then the second that I felt like it wasn't going to happen, or that thing that I was clinging to, like the clock in that instance that I was clinging to, if it went not the way that I had it in my mind, I just felt like I was dying. Like the level of trauma that was brought up in me, like I lost it, like
Yeah.
lost my mind, would send angry, swearing text messages and try and call him. And like it was like being possessed by a demon.
Yeah. That's
It
what
was
pain body is
awful.
like.
And once it started, it swept me up and I couldn't stop. Like it
Yeah.
was, yeah. And now I don't do that anymore. And it's so freeing to not be controlled by that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like when your pain body gets activated. It's like something in you loses control. Just these really intense emotional stories take over and you completely lose your center. But in the course,
Yeah.
there's a lot of practices that we do to help you feel those emotions, but stay centered within yourself and not
Yeah.
get lost in the emotional story and not act out the painful behaviors, because you can absolutely have you can have your feelings but not have your feelings control you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't get sucked into the tidal wave of them anymore. I could like just stay in myself and observe
Yeah.
and catch it before I fell in the hole.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that by itself will have dramatic improvements in any relationship, especially with men,
Oh
in your
yeah.
intimate relationships with men.
Yeah.
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 Okay, good. Well, those were the things that stood out from the form that you filled out. Is there anything else you wanted to share about your experience with the course?
Um, yeah. I mean, I think one of my things that I struggle with when taking courses or like taking a leap like this is like almost a feeling of weakness that I can't figure it out on my own. But
Yeah.
I just want to say we're not supposed to figure it out on our own. Like
Right.
these helpers, these angels, Sarah, are here for a reason. Like you're living out your purpose, and it's a disservice to yourself to pass an opportunity like this up, and
Mhm.
everybody in your life that is hurting from your pain body
Yeah.
like they were for mine.
I know. I've had some women that signed up and they're like, my husband's really told me to do this.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
different.
I remember reading about it. I would read it out loud to my husband and he was like, "Oh, like trying not to seem too excited because he didn't want to get into trouble, but like I like the sound of that."
Yeah, yeah. Men are happy when women take this course. I
Yeah.
have lots of men who write me on Facebook. They're like, I wish my wife would sign up with you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I wish it for everybody.
Yeah. Great. And so, what would you say to any woman who's thinking about doing the course but isn't quite sure? Like, what would you say to
Um Tune into what your body wants,
her? Hmm.
because no one can tell you to do something and tell you whether or not it's good for you. Just tune into your body. Like try and listen to yourself and
Yeah.
like go inside And I can pretty much guarantee if you're in this field and if you're already thinking about it, like there's a pull, there's a reason that you want to do it. Listen to that, trust that for sure.
Yeah. 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 Those inner pulls are really trustworthy.
Yeah.
Even sometimes fear or resistance, or I don't know what's going to happen. What's this course going to be like? All of those things can come in, which is totally understandable. But
Yeah. And I mean, this is a really safe space.
Mhm.
It is a totally safe space. I never felt worried or unsafe or upset. It was all like you hold a really good, comfortable container and it feels good. I
Okay.
mean, growth is always a little bit uncomfortable, but it's
Yeah.
a good container.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Kylie. I really appreciate you coming on here so much.
Yes.
And I just want to say to everyone, I'm going to put a link for the enrollment page in the Facebook after I finish this live stream up, so you can find it there. There is an early bird price that officially ends tonight, but Kylie and I were going to do this the other day and this didn't work out. So because of that, I'm going to extend the early bird till end of day tomorrow. So end of day Friday. So if you sign up by Friday, there's a $100 discount. Feel free to reach out with any questions. Yeah, so that's it. Thanks so much, Kylie. I really appreciate this.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.